Welcome to the MMA Corner. I'm your host, Jody, and today we're going to be talking about UFC 261. I'm going to be giving my predictions to the main card. So let's get right into it. First, we're going to start off with the non-title bouts, obviously. So, Jimmy Kraut versus Anthony Smith. I think it's Kraut. It might be Kraut. I think Jimmy's going to win. Anthony Smith hasn't looked terribly great in his last couple outings, and Kraut or Kroot, however you say his last name, has been finishing people in the first round. So I think he's going to get if not a first round finish, probably going to get a second round finish. Don't want to specify how because Anthony Smith doesn't get knocked out or takes too many rounds of punishment before he gives up. So I think maybe a submission loss for Anthony Smith in the second. I still think it's going to be early. Going with Jimmy for that one, and then Uriah Hall over Chris Weidman. I think Weidman's been in the game too long. He needs to step out. And I think since he lost to Reyes, he should have stepped out then. And now he's just taking unnecessary punishment. So I think after this one, I think Weidman's going to lose. I don't know how. I think it might be early. Might be an early knockout. So, I think after this, Weidman should step away from the game, take no more unnecessary damage, and just move on with his career. And then we get into the first championship fight, which is Weili Zhang versus Rose Namajunas. And to be honest, this is hard. I've changed my mind twice now. Initially, I said Weili Zhang is going to win. Then I changed it to Rose. Now I'm back to Weili Zhang. And I think the reason I'm switching and sticking with Weili Zhang is because the way she came out against Andrade and the way she pieced up Joanna, I think she's going to have a great chance of just piecing Rose apart. She's going to be able to dominate the fight, if not finish it early. I think there's a very good chance of her going in early, just trying to put Rose down and get her out of the fight as quick as possible. Because if the fight goes on, I think Rose, she might have better endurance, and I think she might be able to stick through it without the fight, and toward the championship rounds, maybe start picking Weili Zhang apart. But not totally sure on that part. Weili Zhang might be able to stick through it the whole time. I think the more likely outcome is Weili Zhang putting Rose away early, just like how she did with Jessica. Granted, she couldn't do that with Joanna, so it went for a 5-round war, and Rose beat Joanna twice, so maybe that doesn't happen, but I think Rose might be a little different after the first Jessica fight. I think now she's going to be more safe. I think she's going to try to be more methodical and slower and try to just do 5-round fights and come out with as little damage as possible. And I don't think that's going to happen with Weili Zhang. I think Weili Zhang's going to sprint right through her and move on to the next challenge, which is hopefully Valentina. I know previously I said Nunes and Valentina should fight, but I think Valentina and Weili Zhang fighting at 125 would be great too. Moving on to Valentina versus Jessica. Valentina. This to me, this one's easy. I think Valentina, I think she's not gonna let Andrade, figure out her opponent. Because once she figures out her opponent, I feel like she does a good job. Once she realized what Rose was doing, she slammed her on her head, and then she just kept hitting Caitlin Chukagian, however the fuck you say her last name, in the stomach over and over again, and eventually it finished her. So I think Valentina is going to look to end it early because as the fight goes on longer, it might favor Andrade more because she might be able to figure out a way to put her opponent away. So I think Valentina is going to finish her early, or she might be able to, or she is probably good enough to be able to dominate the whole time and not give Andrade a chance to figure out a way to put Valentina away. So I'm going to lean toward Valentina. I think it's way more likely than Andrade winning. And then Usman versus Masvidal. I don't know why this fight's happening. As far as training partners go for Masvidal, they said that he was in shape and ready to go for fighting Usman, just in case something happened. That was Dustin Poirier who said that he's been training, he was ready for the fight. The only thing that you can give him credit for, or the only thing that could take away from that, was the weight cut in a week. So, going down from whatever he walks around to and then down to 170, that does hamper you for sure. And sure, he didn't have a total fight camp, but he was getting ready to fight Usman. He was on track to fight Usman. He knew he was going to fight Usman next. So he was getting ready for him. He was training for him. And, he still lost 5 rounds. If you want to say the weight cut is what did that, then by all means, the weight cut is what definitely affected him the most. I don't know if that's totally true. I don't know exactly how much he loses in between or goes back up and then loses for a fight. So for me, I have no idea if it was like a super bad weight cut or if it was like, oh, okay, I have to cut 10 pounds or cut 15 pounds. You can watch examples of people on old tough seasons cutting weight pretty quick. They're overweight and then they cut weight pretty quick. So I don't know if that's a 100% foolproof argument to make that weight cut was what did Masvidal over. But I also think now that Usman's with Trevor Whitman, he's going to have way more weapons. I think it's very important to notice that he's stayed with Trevor Whitman after the Burns fight, and that that's a coach to have in your corner. He's got Justin Gaethje now with him. He's in the same camp as Rose. It's a good camp and a good coach to be with now. It's going to improve him overall. As of right now, we've seen good striking out of him when it's two wrestlers fighting. Now I think he's going to have even better striking against a striker. Will it be the same striking as Masvidal? No. But I think he's going to have more complete weapons now. He's going to turn more into a new modern era GSP. He's going to become a better fighter overall with Trevor Whitman. And I do think that that's going to affect a lot of what's going to happen in this fight. That being said, if he gets dropped early like he did in the Burns fight, and Masvidal is not afraid to go down with him, Masvidal might pick up the win. He's shown, for whatever reason, that when he's cold in a fight, he can get dropped. I think that happened twice. It happened with Colby. I'm pretty sure he got rocked pretty hard with Colby. And then the Burns fight, it showed that too. So I think if he drops him early, very slim chance of it happening. But if he does, I think that's crazy. I think he might be able to put him away as long as he's not scared like Burns was. If he's not scared like Burns, that early stoppage might be what happens. But I think it's more likely that Usman, 5-round fight, not a war either. I think Usman's going to get a hold of him and be able to do whatever he wants to him. Keep in mind, Usman was preparing for Burns in that fight too. And then Masvidal was his replacement. So even with a full fight camp getting ready for someone, it's still not the person he was fighting in the end. He only had 7 days to get ready to fight him. He was expecting Burns, and then in a couple months, Masvidal. So to have to change in that 7 days, he fought Masvidal on 7 days' notice as well. So I think that's a good argument too, that Usman didn't have all the preparation he needed and still dominated 5 rounds. So with a fight camp for Masvidal, how much more dominant is Usman going to be? That's the question, and I think we're going to see that this Saturday. I think he might even drop him. He's with him training with Whitman. I think Trevor Whitman is a key because he dropped Burns too, right? And then dominated the fight there. So if he exchanges too much early, I think Masvidal can get the drop and put him away, but I don't know how likely that is. I think it's more likely that he plays super safe, strikes when he can strike, when he sees openings, and then take him down, or at least grind him up against the fence again. And yeah, maybe he foot stomps all day, but I still think in the end he is doing more than just doing just enough to win. Like when Usman fights, he doesn't do just enough to win. He goes for the win. He doesn't just get somebody to the ground and lightly tap their head like Roy Nelson. he actually tries to fight and actually tries to finish, and we can see that like he does damage. Those foot stomps do damage people. You know, as silly as those are, they do still do damage. So I think it is overall. I think Usman's got a way better chance of winning the fight than Masvidal. I think Masvidal has a chance. You know, if they fight 10 times, I'd say Usman wins 7 and Masvidal wins 3 times. And I think we're in one of the 7 times right now. And I also think the BMF belt should also be on the line. If he's going to fight the same guy twice in a row, I think Usman needs to come away with something else as well. Dana said this is a one-time thing with that belt, and if that's the case, why even introduce it? I think that belt's kind of silly unless you're going to put it on the line. And then if we're going to have it be in 170 and then the champions are going to fight, might as well whoever wins, they just merge the belt and they get rid of that BMF belt. Because otherwise that belt is useless. That belt is pointless. It's silver. It's not even gold, people. It is silver. That is second place right there. That might as well be that is the number one contender belt, and it's silly and it's dumb. We need to get rid of it. So put it on the line, and then hopefully Usman wins and just throws it away, and then we can be done with this fucking bad motherfucker belt. It's very stupid. So, yeah, I'm saying Usman wins and throws away the BMF belt. So, yeah. Comment what you think is going to happen. Like if you agree, dislike if you disagree, and yeah, we will see you probably Monday with the results. So have a good one.